Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Another Poke Portfolio video, and this one is gonna be a banger. So make sure you settle in. This one's gonna be about vintage, guys. The rebirth of vintage cards. It's happening right before us, and it's gonna be interesting to see where some of these things end up. But before we get into that, guys, make sure you continue to show your love and support for me in the comments down below. I greatly appreciate it. I've replied to all of my comments so far, so be sure to put your opinion down below, and we'll see what's going on. So, I just wanted to start with this. Obviously, this came out quite a while ago now, but it's nice to have a reminder, right? So they actually printed less cards between 2024 and 2025 compared to 2023 to 2024. So what's going through the hobby right now is people are starting to worry about the print runs going forward for the newer Pokemon sets, right? They're worried that Pokemon are going to suddenly increase this printer run and their printing capacity, and they're going to be my guesstimate is they'll be upwards of 12 billion cards 2025 to 2026, right? I think they will dramatically increase this, if not more, right? They have to. The demand is too much. They literally have no choice. Otherwise they won't make enough. They won't. The money they're making won't make sense, right? They have to print more. The demand is, people are making too much money on the side, and they're not picking up enough of that cash. They want to expand the pie, right? And what's interesting is that we're seeing some price moves starting to happen in vintage, and it's been like, it's been low key so far, but I think it could start accelerating now that everyone potentially could start to worry about the increase in print runs, because they've already come out and said, Prismatic is going to get printed to the ground. You can imagine all these sets are selling out, guys. They have nothing available on the Pokemon Center website. This whole bull market won't end unless there's products on the Pokemon Center website that you could that's up there for months. We're so far off that. We're so far from that I think they're worried. So they're going to be printing a lot of cards between 2025 2026. So again, let's go into the vintage part. We're starting to see some vintage cards and vintage. They've been playing off for the last since last year. Really, they've been running with everything else, but it's definitely accelerating. It's getting more vertical as we go through 2025 for vintage. And this is what's going to happen, right? All the smart money is gonna be worried about the supply and demand balance of the new sets coming out. The mega evolutions, people are they're already worried that if they print too much and it stays in stock, that they're not gonna have that return for a while, which is what a normal market looks like, guys. You're not supposed to see in Pokemon an instant return on your capital. You normally have to wait 2 years until something starts to go up, but you get in 2 years early because that's the bottom, right? And you're supposed to wait 2 years before it goes out of print and before it starts its run of accumulating wealth. But we've gone in this backwards mindset of this market that everything is supposed to appreciate straight away, and people are worried that when that gets taken away, because of the supply and demand sort of off balance, that people are gonna they're gonna start going to vintage, because that is the safe haven in terms of sort of low pop. You have less liquidity, true, but there's more value to be found there, and I think the smart people are potentially moving into vintage right now. Let's just go through some of these vintage cards. I completely picked them up absolutely randomly. So this is just a Dragonite EX. I like the card, but you can see it's starting to really accelerate towards 2025. It's interesting because modern isn't really doing stuff like this. I mean, vintage is really accelerating. The gold stars always a favorite, right? Have always been a favorite. They're really starting to pick up now, guys. And this could expand all the way to the shinies. There's some shiny Pokemon that are starting to move, have been moving for the last 6 months. And I honestly, in my opinion, I really do think this continues. Uh, booster boxes. It's really hard to get sales of booster boxes, but Holland Phantoms has seemed to have a decrease, which is interesting, right? So it's not always. I think it's the singles that move before the sealed. So we'll see what happens with the sealed guys, but I think the singles will start to move before the sealed. As you can see, Dragons Exalted has been pretty flat. These are just random booster boxes. I'm picking at random. But you compare that price movement to some modern cards, and it is night and day. Why would someone? I think people are waking up to the fact that why am I paying $450 for a Pikachu at basically at release when I could get something that actually goes up over time instead of losing half my money. I think maybe that pit of depression that's just hit the person that bought it at 470 when it's now 260. I think that depression pit has got people shifting. I think it might be a wake up call. This modern sort of dump in the singles. As you can see, some cards, obviously, Team Rocket's been helped by the new Team Rocket set, but I mean, 94% for the Dark Alakazam. It's respectable numbers, guys. It is respectable numbers, and guys, I think obviously everyone's got their own opinion, but that is still cheap, still very cheap. Same with the Articuno. I mean, Fossil. It's not my favorite set by any stretch, but it's performing. It's performing. The singles are doing well. Articuno seems to be doing well. I've again completely picked these at random. I wanted to compare some of the Salamence. Obviously, I've just picked this card up. It's a stunning card, but no doubt it's been printed. It's been printed a lot. No doubt it's been printed a lot. And you compare it. So people are waking up. You compare it to the Salamence from Arceus or Arceus, depending how you say it. This is starting just a nice steady staircase of buying and buying pressure. That is healthy price movement to me. And I think people are starting to really rotate. And it could be that people are scared, but it could be that people want to go back and they want to experience vintage again. And but still, the price movement is undeniable right now, and you can't really shy away from it. Modern, I love modern. I invest in modern. I always pick up the sealed because that's where you get it at MSRP. It's hard to find. You're never going to find vintage at that price, but um, it's interesting to see this really start to move now. And like I say, this is sort of where I would say we're middle market cycle right now. I know it doesn't seem like that, but I think we're middle to third quarter innings of this bull cycle. Mainly, I just want to show you some data, guys, that I use. So mainly because we still have money on the sidelines. 7.4 trillion as of Q1 this year is still sat in cash. Cash, guys, in money market funds, bonds, government T-bills, whatever. It's just sat on the side, just getting that 4% interest rate that the Fed has made. When they start dropping interest rates, as you can see, they've gone from 5 to 4%. As soon as people stop getting 4% of their money and they start getting 3, 2.5, when that starts dropping, people will move this money out. It'll start coming down, as we saw like a short dip there in 2020. It'll start coming down slightly. That money will rotate into assets, and what we'll have is just an expanding of the bull market. That's why it's interesting to see vintage running now. I think it's just an expansion of this bull market. Modern was obviously first because it was the hype train, but I think vintage continues to run now. And it's interesting. Unemployment rate really is what's going to be the determining factor of when the next bear market hits. I think the next big uptick in unemployment, where people don't have that disposable income, and AI is here to take all our jobs. I think that is going to cause some major crash at some point. It might not be the next bear market. It might be the one after that. something might happen in between. But it's AI is a big issue, and it's coming. People are going to have to reskill. Everyone is going to have to reskill and change jobs. So it's going to be a very turbulent time, and that is when I think the next bear market will be. But coming out of that will be a very broad rally indeed. But obviously that's just general macroeconomics. Anything can happen in between. You can get flash crashes and unexpected black swan events. But for the most part, I think this bull market is pretty solid. We've got a lot of cash on the sidelines, and I think people, like I say, might start to be slightly worried with modern. I've heard some people in the comments talking about how they don't like modern, and vintage, it has some beautiful cards and some good things going for it. It is just some of the sealed is just way too expensive for the ordinary person to pick up, and they might feel the love in the singles, getting cheap singles. So yeah, guys, be on the lookout for this vintage comeback, because it's been pretty low key so far. It could start going slightly vertical like this Pikachu with some cards, but it could start going vertical. But always be careful, guys, because there's always fakes. Be careful, make sure you check everything. Vintage is not as easy as modern, because you can get scammed a lot easier. But with that, guys, that is the end of the video. I just wanted you to be aware of what potentially could be happening in the Pokemon market. We might see this it's very cyclical rotation of money going into vintage now, just because when Pokemon prints up, people want to get out of that risk curve. So yeah, guys, if you like that sort of content, feel free to leave some feedback down in the comments below. I greatly appreciate it. Obviously, I always hope to catch you in the next video. But with that, guys, I'll see you in a bit.